Well, hello boys and girls. Robin here with my big cup of tea out in the out in what's left of the sunshine. The sun's actually moved over there, but I've cleaned up the table outside, grabbed a stack of comics from my archive, just at random. Some Marvels and a lot of Batman, but I didn't know if you were interested in those, so let's start off with this now. A lot of comic collectors are gonna be annoyed at me because I don't bag and board per se, because I buy these to read them. I don't slab them in plastic so you can't read them. These are to be read. You will find that museums are places that are full of things that have survived a big clear out, and a Ming vase, which is priceless, might not actually be their best Ming vase, because if you went back in time to Ming time, they might go, yeah, that's rubbish, that's discount Ming. So it's because by virtue of survival and being in a museum, it has survived, and we are not owners of our comics or our Mings or anything else like that. We are merely custodians. So I'm custodian of some Battlestar Galactica. Now, I first came across Battlestar Galactica as a TV and film when it came out in the wake of Star Wars. The opening pilot movie was made into a cinema movie for the UK and Europe in Sensurround. So it was like when spaceship went over, it was like, and it was all very exciting. But that was the movie, which actually was the first episode, well, first 3 parts of the episode, because it was quite a long one. And I thought it was marvellous. And then the TV series came along, and it was only ran 1 season. And then, as I'm living in the UK, the British ITV, I think it was, bought the Battlestar Galacticas, and so it was all a bit slow. But the comics came out. Now, I seem to remember Battlestar Galactica being in the it was a Star Heroes winter special with the Micronauts. The Micronauts had come over from Star Wars Weekly. These were all black and white reprints, and then Star Heroes became a monthly pocket book, still with the Micronauts and Battlestar Galactica. I loved the strips. I thought they were brilliant. And then they got edged out, and it became a X-Men pocket book. So bye-bye, probably because they were running out of material. But anyway, getting American Marvels with the British prices sometimes. Here we are. There's one with a British price on it. There we go. And now where's the American prices? This one is actually adapted from the first story. Let's move these out of the way. There we go. This is part of the first part of the story, based on the television series. Roger Mackenzie was the script, Ernie Colon and Bob was art and letters, and Bob Sharon was colours. So there we go. And it's got the people starving, and that bloke, what's his name? He was like an MP. He was like a senator. He had just been made senator, and he was schmoozing with all his friends, eating all the food while everybody was starving. It's also got the introduction of the Muffet, which was the dog replacement. The young lad lost his dog. There we go. So there you go. So that's Exodus. So it's number 2. I have 2 number 2s. Somehow. And we've got, then jump up to number 14. I really liked it. I also liked the Star Wars strips at the time as well. So, good old Battlestar Galactica. And the last one I've got, Starbucks back. There we go. So I've only got a few, but as I say, I've still got the Star Heroes and with the black and white reprints or whatever. And I've also got a couple of trade paperbacks that reprint some of the stories. So not a complete run in every format, but there you are. There we go. That's me, Battlestar Galacticas. I just grabbed these Marvel ones from a random pile. So next up we have Skull the Slayer. I'd love this to be a movie. This was my first encounter with Skull the Slayer was through a rebrand of Marvel, Mighty World of Marvel, during the Marvel Revolution. The black and white reprints in the UK, they shrunk down the frames, reformatted them, and you had about 8 stories in the Mighty World of Marvel. Started off with the Hulk before Hulk comic came along. And they also had Dracula, which was like bits of reprints of Tomb of Dracula. They had Daredevil, which continued over from the Mighty World of Marvel. Godzilla took over from the Hulk. Nick Fury you had as well, and no, Nick Fury was Hulk comic. What was it? Oh, it could have been Shang-Chi, but they called it SI6 or something like that, the Master of Kung Fu. But this was Skull the Slayer, which was a kind of people stuck in the Bermuda Triangle. Skull had killed his brother. He'd come back from Vietnam, killed his brother who was high on drugs, claimed he was innocent, and his training had kicked in, and so he was stranded with these people that were also on the plane, and basically they encountered dinosaurs and all sorts of people from the future, and it was all very weird. And it was a bit like, what was that Fantastic Journey TV series where they would go from time zone to time zone, except they weren't going through time zones. They were going just wandering around, encountering different people like a Black Knight. So that was issue 6. This was issue 7. Not sure if I bought any of these. This one I might have, but I'm not sure if I actually bought any of these off the newsstand. I had to wander all the way into town and to the railway station, because they were the only people that had. He finds this on an alien, this band, and it gives him strength. But I love the story, I love the art. Unfortunately, issue 8 was the last one, and the story was finished off in Marvel 2-in-1, with the Thing coming to rescue them. And then there's 2 episodes, and then the next episode, because I think the Thing got in bother with them, and then Mr. Fantastic did come out. So that was two in ones, but there's plenty of material there to make a decent movie. If you like your journey to the centre of the earth and all that sort of stuff. Right, the original Guardians of the Galaxy. You definitely saw Yondu. Charlie 27, I think, was in it, and Martin X. No, there's Yondu. It's the light. That's Vance Astrovic. and they were the original Guardians of the Galaxy before Rocket Raccoon and everybody else like that. And I think this was in Marvel Superheroes before. And this is a reprint in Astonishing Tales, number 29, 8p. Charlie 27 was like a man, there we are, there's Charlie 27. So it kind of gives you an origin of each of the characters before they go on to fight the evil Badoon, I think they are. Sorry if I'm saying some of these characters' names wrong. But Charlie meets up with Martin X and all that. And then, of course, there's the Earthman. It's Vance Astro, who's sealed in his suit. And then he's sent away by the people of Earth to the nearest planet or nearest star. Fortunately, the joke's on him because his spaceship is very old by the time it gets there, and the people of Earth are there to meet him. So, but it's a really good story. They overcome the Badoon, and then they band together. Then they went off to team up with the Defenders and the Avengers and things like that, and then they got their own strip in the Marvel Presents, and introducing Starhawk. Look at that amazing artwork, great stories. Steve Gerber is the writer, Al Milgrom and Pablo Marcos are the artists. So rip-roaring space adventure. I actually preferred it when they were on their own, when they teamed up with the Avengers, etc. So 10p. I must have got that from a bargain bin. But I love the series. I actually read it in Star Wars Weekly and glorious black and white, and I love the series. So whenever I saw a Guardians of the Galaxy, I would snap them up. Introduction of Nikki as well. I thought it was, in some ways I was sad when they brought out the film and it wasn't based on the original characters. But having said that, the Annihilation miniseries that kind of introduced the Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon lineup were great stories. If you can get the Annihilation storylines, the full name will come to me. That's worth getting, and those are great stories, and that's pretty much what the movies were based on, or the movie versions. So there you go. Now this one is the last one of my little Marvel pile, and that one is Sgt Fury. As you can see, I just jam in a few I've got one that didn't have a cover, so I printed one out. That is oh yes, here we are. It's the king size special, which by this time was reprinting the earlier issues. It reprints Fury 6 and 7. This is Nick Fury during the war when he had 2 eyes. Get lost, fly. Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. And it's also got a handy guide to planes and stuff like that. But you know, good old rip-roaring adventure. By the time it got to the later issues, the 80 and 88, they were alternating between reprints and new stories. So that one's by Stan Lee and Dick Ayers. I don't think Jack Kirby did a long run on this, but if you like your war stories, we had loads in the UK, loads of war comics, but including Commando. Whereas so there's me Sgt Fury. So then we had a great deal of them. Forces in Combat, I think, is the first British reprints I came across. Obviously there were like only a few pages or monthly issue per British issue, so it took like a month or so just to get through one Sgt Fury story. He did first appear, I believe, in his own comic, which didn't last very long. Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys, who David Tennant took his name from, because David Tennant is Doctor Who is David MacDonald, really, but he took the name Tennant from Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys. And Neil Tennant was the editor of Marvel Comics in the mid-70s. I think he may have been behind Captain Britain, but he put together Fury comic, which was all action, all war, basically to challenge things like Warlord and Battle in the UK. So there you go. Now this the rest of this pile, and it is a big pile, is Batman. I've only got a couple of bags of The Brave and the Bold. I always wondered, there we go, there's Batman with, it started off as, I think it was all knights and stuff like that, and then it became a kind of introduction book. So the Teen Titans started in The Brave and the Bold, and the Justice League of America, and then it became a team-up title, and then a Batman team-up title. So by the time I got my issues of these ones, it was a Batman team-up title, but I always wondered why, or how they came up with who was going to team up. Because, as you can see from these issues, Batman and the Unknown Soldier. And the Unknown Soldier is a bandaged kind of secret agent and all that. I think that's a World War II story, because in those days we had Batman of Earth 1 and Batman of Earth 2. And then we've got Green Lantern, which, you know, that's understandable. Although Batman in outer space doesn't always sound a bit logical. Although most of the 50s he was in outer space and all sorts of stuff. And then we've got Dr. Fate. Good old Dr. Fate. The artwork, as always, terrific. In that bag we got a bit of an eclectic mix of colleagues for the old Bats to team up with. I mean, it's all made very plausible. This one, of course, Brave and the Bold made way for Batman and the Outsiders. They decided that Batman needed a team, so he quit the Justice League and he teamed up with the Outsiders, which included people like Black Knight, Lightning, Halo, Metamorph, and characters like that. And that was a good one. It was the same team that was doing most of the later Brave and the Bolds, which were Jim Aparo on art, and I absolutely love his work. He's very underrated. Now here we are, we've got Batman teaming up with Adam Strange. How is that? And then Hawkman. I do like Hawkman, or I do like the idea of Hawkman. So I buy anything that's not nailed down that has Hawkman in it. I buy Hawkman, but isn't always treated the best. But there's a guy on Facebook has a Hawkman page, and the guy is more passionate than me. Well, that's easy. Look how I treat my comics. So yes, so that was Batman with Hawkman, that's Garcia Lopez is the artist. Another great from the Bronze Age. And then, if you're going to have Batman team up with anybody, it's got to be Lois Lane, hasn't it? Lois Lane. I don't have many Lois Lane comics, to be honest with you. Nothing wrong with Lois. She's a feisty lady. And the artwork for this one is, this is Jim Aparo as well, and Paul Cooperberg is a writer, good old Paul Cooperberg. So this, did they sit around the table and go, right, this month Batman's going to be teaming up with Lois because she's not selling well? Or does somebody go, I've had the greatest idea for a Lois Lane team up with Batman? And we've got Hawk and Dove. Now, Hawk and Dove, this may have been bought after this came out. What year is it? On December 81, yeah. I'm pretty sure I never bought this one off the newsstand, so this might have been from the bargain bins. But when I came across Hawk and Dove, Dove, who was the more gentler of the two, Hawk's a bit of a thug. And Dove had died. They were brothers, and Dove had died, and he'd replaced by a young lady. So here we go, Hawk and Dove. So that's my Braves and the Bolds. I thought I had more Braves and Bolds, and I certainly got a lot of the Batman and the Outsiders, until Batman then left Batman and the Outsiders, and it just became the Outsiders. I did enjoy the Batman and the Outsiders comic. So here we have Batman. Now, this one I'm pretty sure I bought this in a bargain bin because it says £5, but I don't think I spent £5 on this one. This is Batman and Mr. Freeze. You could be the winner in the second Superman movie contest. Wonder who did. So this is because this is Batman issue 308. Now that's the other thing about me. When I first collected, I didn't know anything about DC Comics. I had lots of Marvel reprints, but DC I was learning, and so I bought Batman and I bought some Superman, but I didn't necessarily buy Detective Comics, which was the first one that Batman was in, because I thought the Batman comic was the main one, and with Superman I thought it was the Superman that was the main one, and not Action Comics, which he starred in first. But this is Batman 308, and Batman 309 is actually my first one, my first Batman comic. I think in Britain they did little pocket books, pages started falling out. I may have got a Batman on that one, but this was my first Batman. And then I got the book, Batman from the 30s to the 70s, and that was really, really good. Although it did cover a lot of 1950s stuff and all that, the aliens and the Bat family and all that sort of stuff. But I think Batman needed to go through that to get to where he is now. Anyway, this is Batman and Mr. Freeze, which is written by Len Wein and John Calnan and Dick Goridano are the artists. But this is them returning him to his kind of Dark Knight. Robin, I believe, had gone off to college. So, but this was the one before my first one. Now, my first one is a very sad story. It was a Christmas one. It was probably on the shelves in the middle of the year. Don't ask me about American distribution, but yeah, this is a very sad one. We've got Blockbuster, who's a sort of kind of on the rampage, misunderstood monster, a la Hulk. And then there's this young lady who's all alone and thinking of taking some pills. And of course, Batman and Commissioner Gordon sharing presents. So she's taken her drugs. Inevitably, there's lots of misunderstandings and all this sort of stuff. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, spoilers. But anyway, end up on the ice. But it's a good start, but not a typical Batman comic. While it was my first Batman, and it was very good, it wasn't what I was expecting from seeing the Batman TV series and the Super Friends. So my second Batman was the Riddler, coming into his renaissance. Because I think after they made Riddler, he didn't appear in the comics for a long time. Irv Novick and Frank McLaughlin and other artists. Len Wein is the writer. I do miss Len. He was a great writer. Got Robin's with him. Robin's here. And as my name's Robin. I did like him when he was teen. I couldn't be bothered with kid characters. You know, when people make TV shows and films and they want, this is for the kids to identify with. Oh, the worst characters in the show. I don't want to be a kid. I want to be Batman. I want to see how being a superhero affects the human condition through the eyes of an adult. Don't need squeaky kids. Right, so there is Batman. And then we've got a bit of a jump, that's 3-3. And then ho ho ho. 366. The Joker. And then is this one of the introductions to Jason Todd? Anyway, there's the Batman and there's the Joker. That one is written by Doug Mensch with Tony Newton and Alfredo Alcala. All the artists and all the writers all had exotic names from that melting pot of America. All those people from all over the world moved to America with their all exciting names. But here we go, a nice Batman. Oh yes, there we go. Is that the introduction of the new Robin? The one that's not Dick Grayson? He's dyed his hair. So this is probably worth millions to collectors. They probably slab them, put them in glass cases. There we go. So that one was with the Joker 366. This is 368. So I'm missing one, I think. Batman's not happy, but the lad has taken on the mantle of Robin, because who, frankly, takes a child out to fight underworld people? So yeah, that's probably a homage to introducing blah blah blah. And then we have Deadshot is back. Now Deadshot later went on to find fame in the Suicide Squad. It's a good run, this, a really good run. Well, I never wanted to be Batman. I'd rather be the Flash or Green Lantern. There's always been a uniformly good storytelling coming from the Batman writers. So there you have it. There's been my first bags of Batmans. I've waffled for half an hour. I'll just show you blocks of comics. There we go, some more Batman there. That's 385. So I sort of put them in blocks of like 4 or 5 comics in each bag. Obviously some are special anniversary. Wonder how much that is these days. Look at that. Detective. Ah, these are detectives. So these have probably been reprinted in DC Finest or something like that. But as I have a lot of Batman, I kind of not pulled the trigger on the DC Finest as such. But yeah, this is coming up to Crisis. Back to the Batmans. Back to the Detective. There's more. I've got more in me thing. Every month I go to the railway station with the cash and buy me, what are these, 40p? 40 pence in those days. Sometimes they were done in one story, some of them they ran into a series. Detective. And then we got the British Invasion. Mike Barr was a great writer. Mike and Jim Aparo were a great team for Batman. And then who we got? Alan Davis and Paul Neary now. Alan Davis came over, I think it was 2000 AD, but then from Marvel point of view or superhero comics, he came over from Captain Britain. And Paul Neary was also like the main editor of British Marvel comics at this time. But so what a great artistic team. There we go, some more. And then Batman Year 2, I've got Batman Year 3 as well. I don't know if it was distribution problems, but I don't think we got on the newsstand the Batman Year 1s, but we did get Batman Year 2. And there we go. So there you go. Some of me Batmans. I didn't think you wanted me to go through every single one. This is just my waffle and my thoughts. They say like and subscribe. I've just started the channel, so watch if you want. I'll just dig out some of my comics, wave them at you, tell you what I thought or something off the top of my head. But yes, so some Batmans. I'm actually haven't had a Batman fest for a while, so I might have another Batman sesh. So you can't go wrong with a bit of Batman. Okay, keep safe, boys and girls. See you soon. Ta-ta for now.